Game 7. One of the best phrases in all of sports. That's what we got in the NBA Finals between the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. The Pacers take game 6, 108 to 91. Are we surprised?
I'm gonna be first. Yeah, we surprised. I'm surprised. I sure thought it was over. I think even in the last series, I mean the last video, I said it's over. I sung a song and all kind of stuff.
So
So,
did.
so yeah, no, I thought it was over. But hey, man, look, the Pacers showed up today, man. They showed up and played a hell of a game. When they got that many scores in double figures, man, they hard to beat.
Man.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna agree with Dalen. I'm surprised. I originally picked OKC in 7, but after the last game, I'm like, man, this thing is over. Halliburton is hurt. Not happening. OKC going, they smell blood. They smell blood. It's over. But Indiana came and played very well. Um, and OKC didn't shoot good from the 3-point line, man.
Hmm.
So, that definitely added to their downfall. But yeah, I'm definitely surprised, but I'm happy to see a game 7.
Definitely.
No surprise here. No surprise here. Let's really get to the bottom line, all right? When you talk about this series, it has consistently come down to who makes the right adjustments. And the Pacers have constantly proven themselves. And on the heels of game 6, we see what TJ McConnell could have potentially done in game 5. And I think it's just a continuation of what happened in game 5. That second quarter run. If they can do that in game 7, do not be surprised if they pull this out. But yeah, no surprise here for me.
I'm definitely surprised. I'm surprised for the lack of adjustments on the OKC side. Um, all year, I felt like this was the most versatile team in the NBA. They could play any type of style, but it looks like a style that they aren't familiar with playing is really fast, and that's what the Pacers are doing. They're controlling the pace of the game,
Yep.
which is causing SGA had 8 turnovers. He nearly had a double double today. If he would have had 2 more turnovers, he would have had 21 points and 10 turnovers. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the wrong side of a double double. But however, I don't expect him to have that bad of a game in game 7. So I think I don't call that an adjustment. I call that just playing better. And I think we're gonna get a better game out of OKC. But there definitely has to be some adjustments made in order to close this thing out. I didn't have this series going 7. I thought it would be a gentleman's sweep, but the Pacers, like I said, they controlled the pace, and they've dictated that all series. And in order for OKC to win, Jalen Williams and SGA has had to be great, and we're still missing that third wheel. Like Dalen said, the Indiana Pacers, they had 6 guys in double figures tonight, and do I need to look? Yeah, OKC had really 3,
Three.
really. You know what I'm saying? It was, and Chet
Damn.
Holmgren was not one of those guys.
Mm.
He finished the night with 4 points and 6 rebounds, and to close out an NBA Finals game, that is not enough from your third option. But now that we have a game 7, I think this is what all basketball fans, ask for when you get to a championship series. You want to see them go the distance. You want to see. I think we're going to get the best of the best out of both teams. I think both teams. It's obviously a must win. This is it. You lose, you go home in second place. You win, you are the NBA champs. Now, since our predictions have changed some, have the outcome changed? Do we still? I still I'm still saying OKC is taking the series, but are we changing? Yeah, we gonna get to it early. Is anybody changing up?
Man, I originally went Pacers in 7, so I got the amount of games right. But um, after today kind of put me on the fence. To be honest with you, it
Mm,
does. Just simple fact of this is a do or die game, like you said, and you got a team in Indiana that really this is their desperation also.
mm-hmm,
OKC desperate, but they're at home, so they got a little bit more home cooking and comfortability at home. But the
mm-hmm.
pace is scrappy, and these is the type of games you do not want to go into a game 7 with a team like the Pacers.
No.
Cause they're that's that old fighter that just won't get knocked out. He just won't go down. And I
Yeah,
think when you got a team like that, hopefully they can travel. I mean, not travel. Their bench to travel with them this game, but I don't know. It's one of those games I don't know. But I'm gonna still rock with the Pacers, man. I got Pacers in 7, so I ain't jumping off the
Yeah.
bandwagon.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. I'm not switching up, man. OKC and 7 still. Um, we won't really see what the OKC big three is really made of. Can Chet, Jalen Williams, and SGA all play a good game. One thing that they definitely have to do at home, and I can't stress this enough, take care of that ball. They had 21 turnovers.
yeah,
Yeah.
You didn't
yeah.
shoot good from three. You had 21 turnovers. You can't win that game. So they gotta tighten up, and I think they will because they will be at home. But like you said, right, this is a team you don't want to face in a game 7.
Mm-hmm,
Pacers really don't got nothing to lose. They scrappy. They proven they can win tough, clutch, close games. I don't think they haven't beat OKC back to back yet
mm-hmm,
in this series. So they're gonna have to do something they have not done in this series, which is win back to back. OKC, we've seen them beat the Pacers back to back. But yeah, I'm not changing anything. Get your popcorn ready. Let's see what happens. I'm ready for Sunday, man.
mm,
I'm
I
excited.
want to I want to add to that. And it's just a little thought, but Indiana is not supposed to be here.
mm-hmm.
Nah.
So they, like I said, like they are already at the end with to like whatever it's gonna be, what it's gonna be. But they're
Yep,
not supposed to be here. Everybody's seen OKC being in this position throughout the entire year. So the
yep.
fact that Indiana is not supposed to be here, they have a little bit more on their side as far as like relaxation for this game
Mm-hmm,
because they playing
yep.
with house money at this point. So yeah, I just wanted to add that to that. They not supposed to be here.
Facts.
But you know what? When the playoffs start, what you did in the regular season doesn't really carry over, right? It's a completely different season, and I think a few episodes Jelani talked about how in the NFL you want to get hot and start peaking when you get into the playoffs, right? And if I'm following that logic, what has Indiana done this entire series? I think it's the habits that eventually come out on film, and what they've done is every time they've taken a loss, they found a way to climb the hill. When their best player goes down with injury and is limited, he comes back. He continues to play in that game, risks further injury. And I think just his presence, the leadership, I say all that to say, I think the Pacers are going to win big again in game
Ooh.
7.
Mm,
Plain and simple, I think from a basketball approach, I've seen Obi Toppin be more consistent in this series. I've seen TJ McConnell be more consistent. Although Miles Turner's statistics have not popped out, I haven't even looked at his plus minus, but I just know from the eye test, he's made a major impact, right? Someone like Hartenstein and him have essentially canceled out, and he's taking the hard role so that the rest of the team can flourish. So when I think
mm-hmm,
about someone like Andrew Nembhard, who hasn't had a big game yet in a couple of games, sacrificing that in the name of defense, if they can hold SGA and J Dub, limit them or make them inefficient, I doubt we'll see 8 turnovers again from SGA. But if that does happen, it's going to be a long summer for OKC. And Dalen, to just kind of ride what you said, right? They weren't supposed to be here.
Hmm.
That might be what the national media is saying.
Right.
The Pacers made Game 7 hats. They were ready for this. So,
Agreed.
in the name of that confidence, I have to give my support. And my prediction is it's going to be maybe a double digit win. About
Oh,
It's going to be
Damn.
close, but then 10 point,
Woo.
11-point victory. And in 2017, 2016, 2017, when LeBron and the Warriors came back, when LeBron came back on the Warriors, that did happen in Oakland with the Warriors having home court
Yeah,
advantage.
it
So
did.
Game 7 is about heart and execution. I don't want to talk about home court advantage, who's in the crowd, who got the home cooking, who got to sleep on their Serta mattress. Game 7, show up, win, go home. Those are the options.
I love it.
Well,
It look like
that's
we
it.
split. We split because I know Mark
Yeah,
ain't changing his
you know I ain't
predictions. He been
saying.
riding with OKC from day one. So
You
the
know I
closest we
ain't
split.
not changing at all, and you know, and it's funny because no, I see y'all points on the Pacers or whatever. Like they have been the complete team. You know, they've had guys step up, like Shaq call them the others. You know, the others have, played a big role in these wins. You know, and the road games they've shown they can win on the road. So this is a doable thing. Like, yeah, they have to go out and do something they haven't done, which is win back to back games against OKC, which I don't have the stat in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's very, very difficult to do. Um
And Mark,
I
sorry to
think
cut you off, man. I think both of them coming into this finals, they hadn't lost back-to-back games since like May and April.
yeah,
I
some
seen a
some
statistic that was just out there and speaks to how good they both are.
yeah, nah, that's that off of a loss. It's tough to beat these dudes or whatever. So I
Yeah.
think, just like I think this is going to be a game. I don't think anybody's going to feel, and this is interesting because you would think OKC would have the pressure on them. I don't think they're going to feel much pressure going into this. I think they're going to come into this game confident, but they have to watch out for being overly confident, and I feel like maybe instead of anybody having pressure, it's more of like freedom. Like I think the Pacers are gonna come in this, with everybody doubted them. Everybody said they wouldn't do this. Everybody said this series wouldn't be, close. And we have a game 7. But I think flip side, I think OKC really believes like they think this is gonna be a tough game, but they think we're the
Oh
better
yeah.
team, and that's how they're going to walk into this game. I don't think home court home. I would say home court doesn't matter in Game 7, but the Oklahoma City atmosphere is different. Is different. As great as the Warriors fan base, as great as the Kings back in the day. Like this OKC fan base is something special or whatever. So I do think having home court is going to impact the game to a certain degree. I just hope the referees stay out the way. That's all I hope
Ooh,
because
yeah.
this has been a series that you know it don't feel like they've catered towards either side, and that would be the one thing I think that can mess up this game 7. But with messing up a game 7, like you said, the national media, the world, majority of people think OKC was winning this series. They think they're gonna win this game, right?
Mhm.
If the Pacers and Tyrese Haliburton do win this series and do win the championship, how big of a disappointment would that be for the Oklahoma City Thunder?
I think it'll be pretty big, in my opinion, only because this is the second year in a row. I mean, look, let me back up. They're young. I'll give them that. But You you've been a number one seed back to back seasons. You had the fifth best record in the history of the entire NBA for the regular season. And I know we just said I don't really mean that much, but to a certain extent it does. When you having a historic type of season, regular season. So I think it would definitely be a disappointment, and it'll be the second time this franchise has gotten this close to it, right? And they don't get it. But I think regardless of who wins, man, the thing I'm looking for the most is seeing an icon,
Mhm.
because whoever wins this championship is gonna become an iconic player in the NBA, because it'll be, if SGA wins, right? OKC's first championship. Same thing with Halliburton in Indiana. Um, but that's what I'm looking forward to the most. But no, I think it'll definitely be a disappointment for OKC.
My phone.
I thought you was thinking. I was like, he thinking hard on this one.
My boy is deep in thought right now. He was
No,
pondering
but
the
you know what
NBA
this would be?
Finals, my boy.
Pondering with my mouth moving at the same time. Uh, no, that's funny. Hey, players mess up. You know, it happens. You know, we all have our moments. Uh, this would be the second biggest disappointment to that Warriors team
Mm,
that lost in Game 7 against Cleveland. Um, just for the simple fact, like I said earlier, Indiana is not supposed to be here. They're not even supposed to be in a Game 7, let alone being in the NBA Finals. So with that being said, with OKC, they had a couple opportunities to put this team away, and they
mm-hmm,
didn't capitalize on it. And I think today, and I think I might even said it in the last video, that it's scary to go against a team like this in a Game 7. So OKC should be willing to put them away in this game, because you don't want to see this team again,
mm-hmm.
because they didn't do that. That to me, that that would be the biggest disappointment, because you had opportunities to punch them in the mouth and get them out of there, but you
Yep,
didn't.
yep.
So
Yeah.
I think this would be the second biggest one to Golden State. I'm not even gonna try to get the year, because I know I'm gonna butcher it. But if I'm not mistaken, what was that year like? Was it
2016.
14?
Well, I think it was
Was
16 when
2016,
Bron came back.
The
yeah,
I
3-1.
want to
Yeah,
say 16.
yeah.
yeah.
That's
was
the
it
seven. Just whatever the 73-9 team was.
right,
Six, I
right?
believe 16, 17.
16, 17. Yeah, this would be
Sixteen.
the second biggest disappointment to that team.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Damn, that's interesting, because I would say Lakers losing to Detroit, but if we're talking about finals, if you're talking about game sevens, then yeah, yeah, you're right.
But
But
I would say the reason why this one would be because that Laker team, even though they were as good as they were, it was so much turmoil in that locker room that you
Yeah,
kind of see that coming.
yeah.
Karl Malone injury, and nobody
yeah,
talks about that in that play in that season. That Karl Malone injury hurt the Lakers.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It hurt the Lakers in that series. So, well, it eventually came back to him in that series, but that team, you can kind of see if they lose, you can point at the
Start
reasons.
falling apart.
Right, you can
mhm,
see it falling apart. You can point at reasons. With this OKC team, you
Nothing.
get a
Yeah.
team peaking at the right time.
I hear
They're
you. I hear
young.
you.
They're they look like they're in control, so you don't really have anything to blame. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? So that's why I would say that would be a bigger disappointment than that Lakers team, because there
Got
was much going on.
And I mean, in line with what you were saying about the injuries, right, with Carl Malone, I think it would be the biggest disappointment in NBA history. You brought up great points about the Warriors and the Karl Malone injury with the Lakers, but the Pacers are also. This is going to be, let's say, 2.5 games of Halliburton at less 50%. This is not the same
Right,
Halliburton we saw during the playoff run.
right.
I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you
yeah.
that much. And for me, to add to that, I think the Warriors they went up against LeBron and Kyrie, which was, in my opinion, arguably top five duos, but that run alone, they were just at an elite level, both dropping 40 points. OKC has none of that. They're
Right.
getting beat by a team that's just, hey, next man up. Hey, play until you're tired, and the next man will get subbed in. And so
Mm-hmm.
they shouldn't be in this predicament. And I think a part of me was looking to see if they had the killer instincts to put it away today.
Mm-hmm.
And not seeing that, to go back to that Batman and Robin conversation, that's where the duos get solidified. When things get shaky and your team needs some buckets,
Yeah.
it's inexcusable to, like you said, almost have a double double off turnovers. And I think SGA understands that more than anyone. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, to answer the question, it would be an extreme disappointment. And I'll take it a step further, the biggest disappointment in NBA history.
See, and I think no, I think this is a mass. It would be a massive disappointment. Now, and I'm glad y'all went in that direction too, because that's what I was thinking or whatever. I have this being top three. This would be one of
Mm.
the top three biggest disappointments in the NBA Finals. The other series that I would add to the mix is Rick Carlisle's Dallas Mavericks versus LeBron and D Wade's Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
This
one.
is very, very similar.
Yeah.
Nobody expected Dallas to do what they did. We all thought Dallas was great. Dirk
Nope.
Nowitzki went on a crazy playoff run, similar to Tyrese Halliburton's, and led by the same head coach. So this is something. This is the one. There's other advantages, but this is the biggest advantage I think Indiana has going into this game seven is that they have Rick Carlisle as their head coach. A coach that's won a chip against one of the best duos or trios. If we add Chris Bosh and the big three, one of the best
Mhm.
Miami Heat teams ever, one of the best most exciting teams. The talent level is out of this world. It's not even close to where SGA and J Dub and Chet are. He's beaten better.
Mm.
And you can arguably say, and it's similar. I was going to say he's beaten better. Yeah, he's beaten better
Yeah.
with. No, I wouldn't say with less, but with a similar team.
Mm.
This Dirk Nowitzki is an all-time great. Top what five in scoring all time,
Something like
over
that.
30,000 points for his career. So I don't think anybody on the Pacers touches is even close to that.
Mm.
But he knows exactly what to do. He limited LeBron James, and I think that's what they're doing with SGA. They're limiting him. So
Mm.
I don't think this would diminish their trajectory because I think it was a small blip in LeBron's and D Wade's tenure in Miami. I think if they lost, it would be like I said a top three disappointment. But I think they still, depending on what type of mindset they got going,
You don't
between that group. Um, I think it's something they could bounce back from. It should build character. It's gonna make or break them. Either
Mm.
one.
You think so,
OKC
Mark?
got it going
You think
there.
they could come back after losing two times back to back years? I would say that puts the coach in the hot seat, and just from someone that's
Oh, hold
watched
on. I ain't say the coach. I was talking about SGA and J Dub.
yeah,
The
yeah, and
coach.
I'm just connecting it to that because it's like
Yeah.
how can you trust in because a coach is if you lead us to the best win margin in the NBA and then we get in the playoffs and we always fall short and it's you're at the helm and the big
Yeah.
conversation earlier in the series was how could you put Hartenstein on the bench? So
Hmm.
for me, I can imagine by Monday, like after the series is over, Stephen A. and them will get on national airwaves and start talking about that. Like, is it the coach? Mike Malone's available, so he might go into next year with the hot seat. So in that, like to fight off those like conversations and that narrative, it's Game Seven is big for OKC. Kind of dictates whether they'll buy in because I think someone like Chet is under a magnifying glass right now. Do we want
Yeah.
to make that big investment in you if you're gonna give us 4 games and he's a great player, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, we have to be objective about how we look at the game, and so I can't sit back here in confidence and say like this would make a lot of changes. I think the psyche, the confidence, because how do you get over the hill if you're always able to get through the easy part of the season, and then when the character's supposed to come out, you fall flat. I wouldn't
Yeah.
know where they go after that.
Yeah, man, you're right about the coaching situation because no job is safe in
Mm-hmm.
2025.
Mm-hmm.
No job is safe out here, man.
Nope.
So that it's a possibility that if they don't win, they might go in a different direction. Mike Malone is still out there, or maybe they give him one more chance, one more year, right? But
Yeah.
what are the odds of getting back? It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
get to the finals back to back
Hmm.
years. So
Hmm.
I think OKC, their coach, they need to just have a really good plan, prep, and go in there with that killer Black Mamba instinct and attitude because I feel like if they're going to win this game, they got to blow these guys out.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I've been saying that all series. You want to beat this team, and in the last game, they didn't necessarily blow them out, but they clamped up in that
Yep.
fourth quarter. For
Yep.
like they have to play like that to beat these dudes. You cannot let them linger around. It can't be oh, it's 5 minutes left and we're up by 12. That ain't good enough. Like you, I hope that yeah, they got to blow them out. I hope they blow them out because I'm going for OKC.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? To add to that, I would say for now, say this does go to pace away in this game seven. If
Mm-hmm.
they get rid of this coach, this would be the worst thing they'll do to that team.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the simple fact that this is not the second round or the what or the Western Conference Finals. This is the finals. He got him to the finals. You got the
Yeah.
Yep.
fifth best record in history. You let
Mm-hmm.
that coach go, you're gonna have a whole lot more problems with that team than you think. And I don't
Mhm.
think at that point any coach will come in there confidently knowing that if I do get this team to heights and we don't, go over the hill or we don't get over the hill, that I'm gonna be back next year. This is set a bad precedent for that team if you do something like that. With
Mm-hmm.
the difference between this one and Tibbs, Tibbs has been with the Knicks for
For
how long?
like
Like
Uh,
5 years.
5 seasons.
His fifth
5 years,
year, yeah.
right? And it's always at that end where he just can't get over the hump. His players look tired out. It don't look like a lot of continuity. It look like one person is running the offense. So
Hmm.
it's never looking like, okay, this is the ceiling. We see it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what his second year.
Hmm.
You got to let him rock out. After a year, next year, or maybe even a
You
year
talking
after.
about Coach Mike Dagno?
Yes.
Oh, he's in his fifth year, bro. That's why I'm saying what I'm
Oh,
saying.
He
oh,
in his fifth year. I didn't
It's
know
like
that.
he's like one of 4 or 5 coaches in their fifth year in the NBA. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of movement in the NBA in terms of head
mm,
coaches. So
I wouldn't be
for me,
surprised if they
man,
move him.
you've already put the money down for SGA and like J Dub. So like
right.
moving forward, and it's the tough decision the Warriors had to make with Mark Jackson, and they weren't even as close to a chip. But like obviously, this conversation is premature, but after the result of the game is concluded, like that
We'll see.
conversation will immediately pick up
Yeah,
steam. So I'm curious to
yeah,
see like what public favor and public opinion on the head coach Mike Dagnall will be amongst NBA circles.
yeah.
No, that's real because if you look on paper, OKC's supposed to beat the Pacers. So you be like, man, that's coaching. It got to be coaching, or the
Yeah,
Pacers outcoached OKC's coaching staff. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
it makes sense. Me personally, regardless of the outcome, I will keep them.
Yeah.
But I'm more old school when it comes to NBA coaches. I like coaches that get to stay and
Mm-hmm.
develop their players and the team.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But in the NBA, that's no more. So I wish
Yeah.
brother best.
Yeah, because
I
still,
really do.
when you look at his 5 years there and Tibbs 5 years, or anybody else or whatever, the reason I would keep them or whatever is because they have improved every year under him,
Mhm.
and it's like
Mhm.
now if it came to, let's say, next season they got short, like that's where the pressure comes in. If we keep you or whatever, which I would, if we
Yeah.
keep you, now you got to go get me a chip. Because if you lose in the second round now, it's like, bro, we just were in the finals.
Yeah.
Like
Mm,
we're going backwards. We're digressing.
Yeah.
So I
right.
think, I think we've seen throughout this series, um, coaching, mistakes on his end.
Mhm.
We seen some lack of adjustments at times. We've seen adjustments when it shouldn't have been adjustments. And I
Mhm.
think if they lose this series, I think it all goes back. And I think we said it when it happened. It goes all the way back to game one.
Mhm.
Game one was a game the Oklahoma City Thunder should have won. Players made mistakes. The coach made mistakes. It was a lot of mistakes that were controllable
Mhm.
that's when you just playing with your food. And that's where I think at that point in the series they were overconfident in knowing or feeling or believing we're the better team.
Mhm.
And we go in there, handle our business. Pacers come back, Tyrese Haliburton them do their thing and steal game one. And that's what they did. They stole it. And that could be the deciding point of this entire championship. But I don't believe it. I think OKC comes in with a sense of urgency. I don't think you see a laid back SGA. Don't be surprised if he do like a dog and rock the afro in the game. Don't be surprised if J Dub come with the frizzy braids. They come if I'm the OKC Thunder, they're in the fashion. All the players are in the fashion. J Dub, he be in GQ magazine, SGA, all them boys could dress. But this is a black Air Force game.
Yeah.
Everybody
Mhm.
should the whole team, SGA got everybody watches, Rolexes for when he won MVP. He
Mhm.
needs to buy everybody a pair of black Air Forces. I know some dudes is with Adidas and all that, but man, if you with Adidas, you need to be in black shell toes.
Take them.
All black everything because this is it. The championship is on the line. You may never get this moment again. These times and opportunities aren't promised. I
Hey,
think
Mark,
they understand that.
could I actually ask y'all one question and you got to answer it with just one player? I just want to know who the X factors are that you guys have. For me, it's
Chet,
Pascal Siakam. For me, you said Chet.
Mm.
Chet.
Okay, I got Pascal for Game 7. He's critical.
You mean? Oh, you mean for either team?
Yeah,
Um, mm, I'm gonna go to Hallenberg.
Mm,
Going out
good
there
Yeah.
60%. I don't care if you use 60%. You
choice.
went out there and you actually looked pretty damn good today. For
mm.
the that. So
Shout out to the
hold you.
Pacers trainers, man. They did something.
For
Yeah,
real.
yeah. I'm gonna hold his feet to the fire because you want to be recognized as a superstar. This is your opportunity.
This is his moment.
This is your moment. You know what I mean? Hey, Uncle Shay Shay gave you the nickname Tyrese the Moment Hallenberg, right? So
This
this is
is
your moment.
time.
This
This
is
is
your
it,
moment. So
man.
Hallenberg, he's the X factor for me.
Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna go with Jalen Williams. If he can give you another 40 piece like he did, it's gonna be hard to beat them. So I'm gonna go with Jalen Williams.
Hey, can I get an
Mm.
honorable mention?
Of
Good.
course,
Do your
man.
thing. Do your
It's
thing.
Uh,
your shot, bro.
PJ, is it McConnell?
Mr.
McConnell, yeah.
McConnell. Oh
Mm.
yeah,
That's
I
That's a
second
good
that. I
one.
second that.
That's a good one.
that's an
Hey,
X for me. He's the
hey,
X.
TJ McConnell is throwing his name in the hat for Finals MVP if we keeping it a buck. If we
Hey,
keeping it a buck,
hey,
hey, this series is over. If there's no TJ McConnell, it's over.
it is.
Yeah, how do you decide who's an MVP if
Hey,
the Pacers lose?
Andre Iguodala won it with the Warriors for straight impact.
For yeah,
No,
defending Bron, yes sir.
nobody on the Pacers had impacted this series more than McConnell, in my opinion.
I
That's a
agree.
good call though. Yeah,
Take away do we have the best numbers? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I think this series is I think the gentleman's sweep happens if they
Yeah,
don't have TJ McConnell.
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Pascal or Tyrese would likely win it. But
Mhm.
if I had a vote, I would be one of them lone voters that I'm like, who voted for TJ McConnell? It's
You
me.
messing,
That's
you
who.
messing up the
That's
unanimous
who.
votes? I
I
feel it,
did.
bro.
That's me. We ain't doing no anonymous voting. I did it. I said it. TJ McConnell. Him
Say it with
Connell.
your
He
chest.
might be to him. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah, but
nah, bro.
he's been really showing up. And Adal said this earlier in the show. He said, I would have wondered to see if that game 5 would have been a difference if those minutes go to TJ McConnell
Yep.
and Halliburton actually come out.
Yeah.
Because even in that game, I think he ended with what, 18?
Hmm.
Yep.
You got
Ended
to
that game.
feed the hot hand. You got to feed the hot hand, and I feel like
So and he came in and he kept them going. I think he went on almost like a 12-point run by himself.
Mm-hmm. TJ
So yeah,
McConnell.
Mr.
he's
McConnell, man, putting on a basketball exhibit. Look at him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fundamentals. That's it. All fundamentals.
can't
Right,
go wrong.
left, dribble, stop, pivot, turn, fade away in the
Mid,
paint. Loving it, man. But
mid,
hey, we made it to the end, man. We got one more game.
one more.
Man, it's been
Sunday.
like 2
Win or go
months.
home.
It's been two
Wow,
months of
2 months.
this.
Hundreds of clips, hundreds of videos.
And
Everybody out there, we appreciate you for joining us on this long and exciting run that we've been on. Like this
Thank
playoffs
you, bro.
has been lit. We loved every minute of it. Hope y'all enjoyed us every minute of it. Cause you got a few more minutes with us after game 7. We actually probably got more. We got game 7. We probably do something to parade. The draft is next week. Free agency, people getting traded left and right.
Mm.
So,
Mhm.
although we're closing tonight's episode, we're not closing down for good. We staying open for business.
Yes, sir.
indeed,
And once again, we are the closers, and we signing out one more time.
peace.